Hello, welcome back to Snowflake Usage Analytics Part 2, a bite-sized webinar where we'll just give you little doses of knowledge, drop it on you. You can consume it in a short period of time. So thank you for joining us today. Let's go ahead and get going. We'll talk about a bit of a recap from last time. So we have Data Lakehouse. Data Lakehouse is the end-to-end analytics where pre-built data replication from your various popular sources all the way through the analytic data models and visualizations. You can fully customize it to fit your metrics, your sources, how you want to look at those sources and how you want to combine those sources together, but all in a no-code platform. So when you think of Data Lakehouse, we have a number of different sources, popular ones, NetSuite, Salesforce, Stripe, QuickBooks, and many others to choose from. Now really taking all that data, making sense of it, bringing that data together into data models. We have out-of-the-box data models. You can also build and customize your own data models in order to ask those questions. We provide you a visual interface for that with pre-built dashboards, or you may provide your own analytic tool of choice. So when you think of NetSuite and Salesforce, you have financial data, CRM data, and bringing that data together so that you can look at from order to cash, for example, or how are your customers performing relative to what their contract had said, what are any customer service issues, future deals in the pipeline. And we aggregate all that data up, enrich that data, and provide it in an easy to use interface. And of course, you can add more sources of data over time as your organization evolves and bring all that data together all within a single source of truth. With many connectors to choose from, several dozen, adding more and more every month. And here's our roadmap for this year. So another refresher just around Snowflake, Snowflake Data Cloud. That is where all of your data lands. So whether it's your Snowflake subscription, leveraging the built-in Snowflake subscription, is really your choice. It's where we ingest the data to. All the data is highly secure, fully governed, and can scale as your data and organizational needs change. Whether those are changed throughout a quarter, throughout a month, or just over time as you grow, maybe acquire organizations or roll this out to a larger audience within your organization. Key parts with Snowflake for this conversation on usage analytics is from how does usage analytics get computed and where the costs come from. So there's three main areas that you as a customer of Snowflake will consume your credits. So cloud storage for a nominal fee at the end of the day, just given how cheap cloud storage is in general. You have computation, so the warehouse size, how long that warehouse is running, and then cloud services, really thinking of those costs that every time a query runs also can have a nominal cost to them as well. So bringing all those three together, you purchase and subscribe to Snowflake credits. There's obviously a dollar amount that is assigned on a per credit basis. And so Usage Analytics computes that for you. So within Data Lakehouse, we have taken the data that comes in the structure out of the box from Snowflake. There's a number of different tables and views, I should say views, that are provided by Snowflake for every time a query is run and action occurs within Snowflake. Warehouse starts, warehouse spins down. There's a lot of data that is generated. So this is standard. You can run queries against this data. Well, some of these columns in the associated views, they're the variant type. And variants, it's a lot of data that you would have to parse out in the JSON format, which you can easily do from within Snowflake itself. You can write this query, and great, you get access to the data. Well, this is not a user-friendly way to view and consume the usage data. So taking it to the next level, this is where within Data Lakehouse, we provide a dashboard that sits on top of this data. Some of this data is also enriched from the perspective of adding additional metrics and calculations to allow you to further analyze and really understand where is your spend, and then you can adjust accordingly. And we'll talk about when we say adjust, what that means at the end of the day. So on this individual dashboard, you're able to see where are credits being consumed, what is the dollar amount, in this case per warehouse. And this helps you get an understanding of a better understanding visually, what is that usage experience or consumption experience within Snowflake. We also have the ability to compare against your contract. So whatever period of time your contract is, let's say it's a 3-year contract, could even be a different time frame. But just hypothetically, you have your contract relative to what you anticipated on consuming relative to your actuals. And we know that from a month-over-month perspective, it's not always a linear line of consumption. You might be rolling out to a large user group. You might just be getting started with Snowflake, and there's an initial ramp up time frame. And so those credit consumption will normalize over time, but it never will be flat, because you could even have seasonal or even just monthly, quarterly, annual fluctuations in the number of users and what those users are doing within Snowflake. So your credit consumption will vary. And we look here, we have a new contract year. So naturally, your consumption relative to your anticipated consumption will adjust. And so nice, easy visual way to tell that story. So that's great from a consumption perspective. You can even look at queries themselves. You get a better understanding of what queries or how many queries are running, how long are they running for, who's running, what, whether that's, is it your system, is it an application that's running, or is it individual user or users that are running. And you're able to see this very easily, and you can even drill into to better understand what's happening. So we'll drill into some of these lines here. And when we look at from a developer role perspective, we can see, all right, what queries ran, how long did they run for, how much time was spent, and you can even sort based upon the spend. So a nice, easy way to zero in on, oh, this query, it ran. All right, great. It was a $12 query. Well, okay, you can determine, is it worth spending time on understanding, should I tune that query? Should I talk to this individual and ask them, hey, what's this query doing? Was it a one-time run? Are you running this on a frequent basis? Should we make some adjustments to that? So helping to even facilitate a conversation with individuals, this helps out quite a bit with that. And lots of other detailed information that's provided, even things around if you're leveraging DBT. So DBT being a transformation tool, issue SQL into Snowflake. And you can look at, all right, well, what's happening within DBT, really from the eyes of Snowflake. What are the different packages within DBT? What are those models? What's taking the most time? All right, these are in a matter of seconds, not a big deal. Your environment may have much longer running, and you want to be able to have an understanding of this all from within, leveraging the data within Snowflake. But another way, we talked earlier about leveraging this usage, the Snowflake usage within Data Lakehouse, to make improvements to our end user experience. They're seeing a number of errors. The queries, they do have a cost associated to them for how long those queries run, what size of warehouse. And so you're able to go in and look, all right, I have a number of error messages that are run or that are popping up fairly often. That's interesting. Why is that? Well, you're able to see, okay, I may have quite a few errors. In this case, there's 10,000, 16,000. Typically, you'd say, wow, that's a lot of errors. I need to do something about that. Well, it will only cost you, pennies or over $1. How much time do you want to spend on trying to do a deep dive into, is this, how can we reduce this? Your savings or your payback's going to be dollar-wise, pretty low relative to the effort that you spend. So you can look at this from your common error codes, error messages, and get SQL queries with error. So lots of ways to drill in to better understand where that spend is happening, which is always good to see. So you might say, well, how do I get access to this? Great information to know. However, within Data Lakehouse, we are of the mindset that we contribute to the open source software initiative. So the open source software initiative is a general, it's been around for a very, very long time. Think of Linux and how Linux was originally created. It was open source, and then developers were allowed to go ahead and add branches and add features of their own that they thought had a utilitarian purpose, and wanted to share that not only with their team at their company, but maybe they had a group of peers outside the company from an industry perspective, and a larger audience from a global perspective. So sharing all of that is through the OSS framework. Remember, that framework is just a general guidelines. So we have published the Snowflake data usage in an open source capacity. You can get that either through DBT Hub or you can go out on GitHub and you can look at the packages out there. We have many packages in addition to the usage analytics package. And please feel free to give us a star. We absolutely love stars out on GitHub. And also, it just gives you a means to get updates as well as packages change, packages are added, and we look to continue to build and contribute to the larger community of open source. And then you'll notice some of the other analytic packages out there outside of Snowflake Usage Analytics. They naturally have own sub communities onto themselves. So thank you in advance for going out there and taking a look and contributing and providing a golden star on GitHub. So now we've got quite a few folks on here today. So we'll open it up for any questions that come in. So Mary asked a question, what's the cost to the usage analytics? Well, there is no cost, just due to at least the open source version, there is no cost, but we do have an enterprise version that there is a cost to that. And you feel free to ping us on social media in order to get in touch. Go to our website, or later in the deck here, you'll see my email address. Feel free to reach out. And so some of the things that we demoed today, from a visualization perspective, some of that is in our enterprise and some of it's in our open source. So your mileage may vary as to what you find valuable within the open source version. It is definitely very feature rich, just doesn't have all of the same features as enterprise. So if you're curious to learn more about what's the difference, feel free to reach out, check out our website. It has lots of information out there. So now we wanted to keep this short and sweet. So we'll kind of pause, and anyone that asks questions that we didn't get to you, we'll respond to you directly. So if you're going to Snowflake Summit coming up in several weeks here, we'd love to meet up, have coffee, say hi, love to hear about your journey and your story with data analytics and Snowflake, or just even you may not have begun your journey. You're thinking about starting your journey, or perhaps you recently subscribed to Snowflake and you're trying to figure out where and how should it get started. Love have those types of conversations with you. So feel free to reach out to me directly here or contact us through our website. But looking forward to seeing you out in Vegas. So we do have some upcoming events I'd like to make you aware of. Just on our events page, lots of things happening out there. Obviously, we mentioned Summit. DBT Labs has its own conference coming up in the fall timeframe. So we'll be there and participate. Another great place for us to meet up and connect or reconnect. So go to our events page and see all the other exciting cool things out there coming up. So thank you for attending today. Appreciate your time. Always feel free to reach out, follow us on social media, and we'll catch you at either at Summit or a future event. So thanks everybody. Have a good rest of your day.